what are some important aspects to have on like your podcast cover art or graphics that you use to promote your podcast?
Yeah. So do most of them already have like their solid like name of what they want their podcast to be?
Yes, most of them do, yeah, and then they're
Okay.
just trying to
Okay.
design the artwork.
Yeah. So whatever that name is that they've branded their podcast to be, you want that to come through the artwork. So with building a brand, like get clear on like your colors, right? So in order to build trust with people, consistency builds trust, right? So, if one day someone has like pink and blue is their color, and then the next month they have like blue is their color on a different platform, then it's like, hey, wait, this is not consistent, so subconsciously the person's like, that doesn't trust because they're constantly changing, so like if we were to walk into Target one day and everything was yellow one year, the next year it's green, you
Yes.
really trust. So with your brand art, you want to make sure whatever colors you've picked, be consistent with those colors. And think about really like, because when you're scrolling through a podcast feed or stream, think about creating cover that's really going to stand out against other podcast covers, right? So this really depends. Like the photo, you really want the photo to be able to like speak to, and sometimes it may not even be a photo of you. Sometimes with podcasts, it's less about you and more about there's a way to the problem or the topic that you're solving. So if there's a way to communicate that through the photo, I would say do that. So like for a photographer, there's a photography podcast that I listen to. Like, so, a good cover would be, them, instead of just a picture of them, they have a picture of them with their photography, like their camera or their equipment or something like that. And like for me with a brand designer, I would have like, someone could look at my photo and say, oh, she's branding. So she might be talking about branding. So whatever it is you want to talk about, whatever it is that your topic is about, have some elements of that in your cover photo, if that makes sense. So that someone, because it kind of applies to like, when someone has their website. And when someone goes on your website, your photos, they should be able to look at your photos and tell exactly what you do. And you kind of wanted to have that same concept when you're working with your podcast cover. Can someone look at this and be able to tell by the name and the photo what this thing is about, what this podcast is about?
Yes, exactly. Because they're scrolling through so many cover arts. You gotta stand
Yes.
out and they gotta kinda know just from looking without even reading the description, like, "Hey, oh, this is what this is about."
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. Choosing colors that resonate with your audience. So like if you're speaking to a group of women, choosing colors that they would be welcome to or inviting to versus like all black and all red, So different audiences are going to require different colors. And so that's why when you first create your podcast, you want to know who's most likely going to be my audience. And that may require some market research. You may have to go out and ask people who would be interested in listening to this podcast so you can get an idea of who's in your audience so that you can create colors and a message that relates to those people that would be most likely be able to listen.